Well, nearly 3 years after a local man planned to shoot up the homes of 4 New Mexico lawmakers, a federal judge handed him his fate today. Solomon Peña will likely spend the rest of his life in federal prison. A judge sentenced him to 80 years after he was found guilty earlier this year. Now, while cameras are not allowed in that federal courthouse, Alika Medina was there in the courtroom this morning as the judge handed down that sentence. Alika.
Tessa, Solomon Peña was facing anywhere from 90 years in federal prison. But, at the end of the day, Judge Kiera Riggs says the decision behind her decision behind 80 years came down to his ego and the fact that he wasn't able to accept the fact that he lost his run for the roundhouse, adding that everyone should feel safe at home.
It took federal judge Kiera Riggs less than an hour to sentence Solomon Peña to 80 years in prison. In 2022, Peña arranged and carried out a shooting at the homes of 4 Democratic lawmakers: Debbie O'Malley, Adrian Barboa, Javier Martinez, and Linda Lopez. The shooting followed his loss of the District 14 House seat. Luckily, no one was injured. We spoke to the victims when the shooting first happened back in 2022.
I couldn't help but think of how I had just been playing right here with my granddaughter, and my daughter was here, and we were getting ready for Christmas.
Albuquerque police arrested Peña in January of 2023. During the sentencing Wednesday morning, Peña didn't speak, but his attorney claimed he maintains his innocence. But Judge Riggs says while he stood there with no remorse, it all boils down to his ego and not accepting the fact he lost the election, saying, quote, "It's all about you." House Speaker Javier Martinez's wife, Diana, was emotional in the courtroom as she spoke of the trauma they endured. Senator Debbie O'Malley was not in the courtroom, but she told us today it wouldn't have made a difference.
He has no sympathy for people. So my point was to speak to who, right? Is it just because I wanted to say something? And I didn't want to kind of relive a little bit of that emotional trauma. Physically, no one was physically hurt, but clearly there was a lot of emotional trauma from the individuals who were victims.
Adrienne Barboa, the Bernalillo County District 3 Commissioner, was not in the courtroom this morning. She told us in a statement the decision was in part to protect her peace and health, saying, "I am not shuddered or intimidated by Peña's failed attempts to stall or halt democracy. I too have faced hardships in my life and have chosen the path of love, healing, and public servitude. While Peña has used his hardships to justify violence, love is stronger."
Javier Martinez and Linda Lopez declined to comment on the sentencing, and in addition to the 80 years, Peña was also given 3 years of supervised release, and his attorney tells us he plans to appeal his conviction. Tessa.